Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm one of the producers of the Live Long and Prosper podcast. Since we launched this show, we've heard so many financial stories from tech leaders. We've heard about challenges, we've heard about achievements. Most of all, we've heard about money lessons. Now, talking about money can sometimes feel taboo. But here's the thing. The more conversations we have about money, the more we normalize these conversations about money, the more likely we'll all be better equipped to meet our own financial goals. This is especially critical for women. We need to take all that taboo and turn it into knowledge and ultimately into empowerment. So here we've been thinking, what if we look across all recent episodes we've hosted really brilliant women at the top of their fields, all share candidly about money, put them in one video to inspire more conversations about money and among women. So that's what we did here. Now, I may be a bit biased, but every single one of these episodes has personally inspired me to think about my finances a little bit differently. We hope when you're watching, you'll be inspired too, and that just might start some more conversations about money among women. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for listening, and here's to learning more and growing together, talking about money.
There's no such static thing as a work-life balance. Work-life balance 1 week to the next is always different because the needs change. Things are not static. One week your job might need you to do a launch, have a executive level meeting or a board meeting or whatever. The next week your kid might desperately need you. So you can't look at work-life balance in every day, every week. You have to look at it over time. Are you doing the things you need to do?
People often ask me, they say, professional woman, do you think you can do it all? Can people do it all? And I said, my answer is no, in my experience, not as an individual. And so you have to think about it as kind of the team, the family team. And I remember when our kids, my kids now are 22 and 18, my little people have grown up. But I remember when they were 6 and 3, maybe 3 and 7, that kind of range. We were kind of overwhelmed. My husband and I were feeling like we each maybe had 1.5 jobs and we had the kids, and we were lucky. We have so much family around. My mom took care of them 5 days ago. I was very blessed to have all of that, but it was still very challenging. We didn't feel like we were kind of giving them the parenting that we wanted. I think first is recognize that diversity will help you build better products. And I think organizations run better. I think having those diverse perspectives, it's one of those things where there's research that now quantitatively even shows it. So I want to make sure that people understand that at its core. One thing that I have seen, and I call it Sabrina's Rule of 3. They named it Sabrina's Rule of 3 when I was actually sharing it at Google. Is that I do think that there is a minimum of 3 when you're looking at any underrepresented group. What I found is when you're the only one, and I have been, when I first joined the Android leadership team, I would count, actually. I'd be 27 people in the room, I'm the only woman. 30 people in the room, I'm the only woman. And it was interesting when you're looking at things like working on camera, where none of the guys even took pictures. And I was like, why are you leading this? You need more people. I take so many selfies, right? It's just, I think I've made you take a selfie with me. You need the people who are really enjoying the product in different ways to share their perspectives. So what I find is that if you're the one, you're the only. And often you get these questions of, Sabrina, what would women think about that? Sabrina, what would Asians think about that? And you're like, I don't know. I don't know that I can represent billions of people. The funny thing is, when there are 2, everybody thinks you're best friends. Oh, you and Denise, I'm on a board and where there's 2, and it's like, oh, you and Denise, do you hang out all the time? I'm like, I like Denise, but we're not best friends. But there is this assumption that you're best friends and you're connected in some way. It's not until you get to a minimum of 3 that somehow you can actually be different, but also have enough disparity in the group. And so I encourage anyone who is running teams, who are thinking about it, try to create that scenario.
I get asked to be, present as a woman in tech, and a lot of times I don't want to present as a woman in tech. I only want to present as a tech leader. present. I want people to listen to me because of what I have to say, not because of my gender. And I used to say no to some of these things. And my daughter is also in tech. She's also an engineering leader. And she was an intern at Google. And I was asked to do one of these women events, and I didn't want to do it. And she came to me and she said, I had you as a role model when I was growing up. My friends didn't have a mother like you as a role model. You are doing this. And she said, I will come. And she did. She came and she sat in the back of the room and she helped me with my presentation. And she was right. She was 100% right. And so now I've kind of changed my attitude, and I, while I don't want to be doing things just because I'm the woman in tech, I do want to help other women feel comfortable and feel like that they have role models. You have to have some women to attract women. It's just the people, nobody wants to be the first woman. So you got to try really hard to get those first couple women, because that is what makes it easier. There's been a lot of studies on this, that if there's 0 or 1 woman, it's much harder to hire women as soon as that there are 2. And this is true for any minority, not just women. If the team is more diverse in general, it's going to be much easier to hire diversity. So hiring that first, you have to focus on it and work hard, and then it becomes easier. And then I also am a really strong believer in starting young. And I think the biggest problem is getting young people interested in like 3rd and 4th grade, and before there is a stigma attached to it, or before there's any, oh, I'm not supposed to like that you're more open-minded.
Even if it's difficult, and even if, the messages that you're receiving are that, you shouldn't do this, or this is not meant for you, or, girls shouldn't do this, that ultimately you're the only one that gets to decide who you want to be and how you want to define your identity. And so my mom did that, and I learned from her that my destiny is in my hands, and I get to craft my life and my identity the way that I see it.